I know, I know. The internet tells you that you need this massive reach, and you feel like the algorithm is telling you that you need more and more and more and more views. Most authors don't fail because they weren't loud enough, or because they weren't seen enough, or because the algorithm monster was being cruel to them. They failed because they tried to reach everyone. When you try to talk to everybody, you're actually talking to no one. Instead, we need to talk to the people that are already looking for you, because someone is waiting on you today. They need you to clearly, concisely, consistently share with them who you are, exactly what you do, and how they can get an impact in their life from doing it too. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years in business and the last literally 59 years, my whole entire life of being visible and valuable in media, literally born into media. On the day I was born, I was in the local newspaper, actually. Um, and I've had the incredible opportunity to work with over 5,000 authors, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But more than that is, and even more than the doctors and the lawyers and the nurses and the Olympic athletes, all those kind of people, more than all of those kind of things is the people just like you, the ones who are maybe stay at home moms or startup companies, or maybe, they even have a seven-figure company, but they still feel like the best kept secret in their industry. They still feel like nobody really knows who they are. They feel like they're screaming out into the void. And um, maybe you go live like what I'm doing right here. There is a part of a scariness in a way, actually, even of when you go live like this, because if you're by yourself, it's just you and the camera and all of the self doubt and all of those things that we say about ourselves. Hi, Damien. Glad to have you here with us. Um, you know, and sometimes people like Damien say hi, and I really appreciate that because it makes me feel a little less alone. But a lot of times I can look over on the left hand corner and I can see the tick ups of the number of people that have hopped in for, the whole thing or for moments. Um, but nobody's giving you feedback. I love, I have my syndicated radio show and I love being able to talk to people. Even more so, I love being able to listen to them and hear the really incredibly cool things they're doing in the world. But a lot of times when we're doing our content, we are doing it in a bubble. We wrote our book. You sat down, whether it was pen and paper or you did it, like I suggest, doing it via interview, you spoke it out, or, you typed it into the computer or what have you. You kind of do that in a bubble. And I'm cautioning you, be careful who you share that book with originally. There are a lot of people that love you very, very much, and I'm not dissing them at all for how that love comes out. But the truth of the matter is often out of fear for us somehow getting something bad happening to us, they tend to overreact. And often a lot of really, really great books get hijacked and never come out because somebody's aunt or their cousin or their brother or their sister, who are not your ideal clients, they said something. And it just totally took the wind completely out of your sails. You're like, oh, I loved this book and now I don't like it at all. Sometimes that feedback is really good. My 40th book is a complete, nearly complete rewrite of my 20th book. Same title, same bat channel, if you will, totally new cover, absolutely new content, much more actionable, much more interactive with you. And I'm grateful for the person who actually said, hey, you might want to go back and read through that because there's some things that are in it that are redundant, and there are some things in it that get you right to the edge of things and then don't give you the information. And then I had another friend of mine, after I had pretty well written the whole book, that came back and they said, yeah, but statistically that if your book is 100 pages or less, about 60% of people will finish it. If it's between 100 and 200 pages, that drops to about 20%. And if your book goes over 200 pages, it's like less than 3% of people that ever finish it. Hey, Aubrey, glad to have you here with us. And so with that in mind, how do you get people to even open the book? And then after they open the book, how do you get them through the whole book? And so we did some really fun gamification with Bestsellers Only the Beginning, and a lot of really cool stuff that we could talk to about with you with that. But again, that comes down to you've got to be talking to, and well, first of all, you got to know who, and then you got to talk to those specific people. All too often, and I hear this all the time, is, well, this product, this talk, this program, this whatever it is that you do, is something everybody needs. It's something that everybody wants. It's something everybody should have. The old Harvard rule of 4, something that everybody wants, everybody needs, is priced for sale and is priced for profit. Okay? Toxin, glad to have you here with us. And those 4 are, integral in the concept of marketing. But at the end of the day, you don't talk to the everybody. And you don't talk about the everything. You talk to the specific somebody. The closer you can get to speaking to a single person, the more impactful, the wider your reach is actually going to be. Now, there are a lot of gurus, a lot of teaching, a lot of Facebook, sponsored messages or things like that, ads, that you're going to see. And I just heard the other day that LinkedIn is now moving more and more towards ad-based content. So you're going to, get that kind of stuff too. And unfortunately, there's a lot of voices out there, especially with AI, that are convincing you, talk more, talk to more people, widen your reach, and really what I'm suggesting to you is really narrow your focus. Talk to the one, talk to the person. Be very specific about the very specific thing. So you want the 3 C's, right? Clarity. Who, what am I talking about? Who am I? What am I talking about? Who am I saying it to? And what's in it for them? What could I do to help that one person make just one little shift, one little step? We walk down the street or, anywhere we're walking, one foot in front of the other. Okay? We don't just leap ahead and leap ahead. Yes, Jesus does love you, Brendan, and glad to have you here with you. I'm glad to have you here with us. I appreciate you. You got to take those each individual steps, and you want to just give that person the one thing that they can do. And then consistency, you want to do it consistently. Because, on a random Saturday afternoon at, just after noon, Central Standard Time, they may or may not see you live. They may come back and see the live 2 days, 2 weeks, 10 years from now. Okay? But specifically, you talk to them. And it really doesn't matter whether they catch it live or they catch it, like you said, 10 years from now. For that person, it's going to show up in their life exactly when they need it, to give them exactly the thing that they need today. You see, all of us, myself included, I'm just as guilty of it, so I'm not dissing, but everybody's talking about going viral. This viral video, that viral video, here's the, steps to go viral, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. 2 things. Number one, if you really did have something go massively viral on you and sales were streaming in. I mean, so in other words, it's not just, 300 million people clicked on it and then clicked back off of it, but, it's actually actionable. All right. Could you handle? I mean, and we're not even talking 300 million. Let's talk, could you handle 30,000? Could you handle 1,000? Could you handle 300? If they came in right now today, could you handle 30? Those are the realities. And when you start taking the, there's like what, 330, 350, whatever it is, the number is, million people in the United States. And there's just shy of 8 billion, don't quote me on that, somebody can check me if you want to, people that are, in the entire world. You don't need to reach every single last one of them. You need to reach one. If you were to connect with somebody and help them out, and if we want to talk purely sales, and if we even just want to talk about our book, if one person got your book today, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. Although one sale isn't going to jump the algorithm, like if you made 10 sales right now, 10 sales in an hour is going to be massively algorithmically more than one. Okay, 10x, right? But if you made one sale, and you'd have to be really watching Amazon, because one sale is going to blip the rankings, and you'd have to just catch it exactly then. Whereas when you start talking, 5, especially 10 and 20 and 50 sales in an hour or in the course of a day, that ranking jump lasts a little longer. But if you just did that one sale, it is going to improve your ranking. But more importantly, when you have that one sale coming in consistently, people are buying the book, Amazon sees that. They're not seeing, oh, hey, look, this book is selling, 6 million copies worldwide. They love those kind of books. They promote them, absolutely. But in your genre, in your niche, in your very, very narrow specific category, to the specific people that are the subset of the people in that category. You take a category like, let me think of one. Women's Christian living, okay? Fairly narrow category. It's for women who are Christians, and talking to them about specific life issues that they specifically deal with. But that's still, if you think about broadly, that still is a whole lot of people. And then you can niche down into, specifically maybe, women that are living in cities. Women's Christian living in a little town of 400 like I live in would be a totally different concept for what they go through than a Christian woman living in downtown New York City. Not that they're not both women Christians living, but it's different. And so when we talk really those specifics, just like the difference between when you're 20 and when you're 50, 20-year-olds have their own things they're dealing with. So do 50-year-olds. So do, my mom, who's 87, will be 88, later this year. At every step. And when we talk specifically that way, and then we don't need to be viral, then the one becomes the viral incident that we want. We reach that one person. We get them to say, Aubrey, thank you. I appreciate that. That's what's going to make the difference. Because we want those people to feel seen. And for them to feel seen, you just need to be real and raw and vulnerable and valuable. I remember, I'll never forget, as a coach, and it was a lot of years ago now. It was, 2016, maybe even 2015. Yeah, it would have had to have been 2015, maybe even 2014. Anyway, it doesn't matter exactly, but more than a decade ago, I heard a coach use the phrase vulnerable and valuable. Be vulnerable and valuable, because when you're vulnerable, it's valuable to the people you're meant to serve. And for the longest time, I actually printed it out. I just put the 2 words on a piece of paper, printed it out. I had it on my wall. And I used it for a really, really long time, to the point where it's just in my normal lexicon, my normal verbiage that I use all the time. It's so powerful. And when we are visible on that level, then that one person that we're meant to reach, that makes the difference for them. And from that one person, we will have a small group of people that are all the birds of the feather that want to flock together with you. And you begin to reach people, not because you massively took over the whole entire world, but because you did the little things that made the little differences that changed everything for that one person. That's what I want you to really think about and focus on today? What are the little things? If you had to describe the person your book is really for, not everybody, but that one person, that person that you know would feel seen and heard and understood by what you wrote in your book, can you comment below and tell me who is that person? I would really love to hear. Would really love to know who is your person. And if you've been trying to reach everybody and it's wearing you out, I invite you today, if you need to, let's connect. Reach out to me. I'd be glad to help you get really clear on who is your one. But please do answer that question. Let me say it to you again. I'm going to read it so that I say it right. If you had to describe the person your book is really for, not everyone, that one person your book is for, the person who would feel seen by it, who is that person? Drop that down in the comments. I'd really love to hear. I'm so grateful to spend time with you here today. I hope that you're happy, safe, and even if you're on the East Coast where, we're in negative degrees right now, that you feel warm inside and you deeply are loved. We'll be back again tomorrow. And until then, I hope you have a great week.